Right. Good morning, judges. We are excited to propose our company concept called Global Clothing. So here's a rundown of our team and our roles. I'm the CEO. Hyun Bin is the head of product, Sirius, head of marketing, Ming chief of financial officer, and finally, Zuha.
Our vision is to inspire individuals to envision a world where fashion and sustainability flourish. Goal 12 is our UNSDG.
The statistics here show that 27% of Malaysians have thrown away clothing after wearing it just once, while the average American has been estimated to throw away around 37 kilograms of clothes every year. It takes 2,700 liters of water to just make one. Disposing of waste has huge environmental impacts and can cause serious problems. Some waste will eventually rot and it may smell. And when consumers throw away clothing, not only does it waste money and resources, but it takes 200 plus years to decompose.
Our solution to this problem is to collect clothes that owners does not want or does not fit for a low price, and we redesign the clothes according to the customer's wants, and we sell it to customers.
Our goal is to help reduce waste and encourage sustainability in the clothing industry by providing clothes a second life, as well as donating a portion of our profits to organizations dedicated to a more sustainable future.
So on to the designs. We pile up DIY clothing ideas for redesign to our mood board. So the list of our ideas starts with tie-dye, bleach jeans, horn cap or hoodie, and our own t-shirt, global t-shirt, yeah, and our roll-up plan. So step 1, we advertise our idea. Step 2, we collect clothes that match the conditions. Step 3, sanitize the clothes. Step 4, redesign the clothes. Step 5, ship redesigned clothes to customers.
Now I'll be talking about marketing. Our target market would be teenagers and young people who want to be stylish, but cannot afford high-end brands like Supreme. We pick these two age groups because they're the ones who care the most about outfits and invest most in clothing. Also, we're planning to advertise our brand via Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This is an example of our ideal Instagram page. We'll also be designing our own clothing website where customers can highly customize the size, the pattern, and the color of the clothes. And
our stakeholders would include our customers, the leadership team, suppliers, investors, and the shipment company.
Our starting budget will need to include materials for redesigning, like mentioned before, and the cost of advertising and website designing, as well as recyclable packaging so that it is eco-friendly.
And the next steps, accepting clothing donations, plan events like fashion shows, promotion on social media side. Right, thank you. So Hyun Bin and Ming is gonna answer your questions.
Hello, we will be answering your questions.
Fantastic. Well, that was very well done. Very smooth, efficient, and I like the confidence. Judges, who would like to start us off? Adam, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, and I think you know, one of the first items that needs to be recycled is school uniforms. I know because I have 4 children, and the amount of money I'm spending on school uniforms is ridiculous. So you know, recycling the school uniforms is a good start. But I'm just curious on what are your plans to scale up the business model? I mean, it's fantastic what you're intending to do, because I saw a video on, I think it's Kenya, where a large proportion of our clothes that we don't want is actually shipped to Kenya, and there are huge landfills there. I think it's Kenya or one of those African countries, and most of it is unusable, and it just seeps into the ground, the ink and all that. But how are you going to scale up? Because when people donate their clothes, a lot of it will be individualized items. I mean, you get one T-shirt, right? And you're going to have to clean that T-shirt. You're going to have to redesign that T-shirt. So you're not going to be able to then, you know, have different sizes, different of the same design or whatever, and every design then becomes very individualized, which then would end up costing a lot more than if you could do 1,000 of the same one. So in this case, my question is, have you thought through how scalable this business is going to be? Yeah.
We've sort of thought through about how scalable our business would be. The individualization part of it is part of what makes global clothing global, I guess, because each piece that comes through is unique in a way. And should the business expand, we would scale up by hiring employees to help us out with the redesigning process, and also to help us out with shipments and other things like that.
But you will not be able to make you will not be able to mass produce these items, right? You would only be able to do one item, redesign one item. As you collect used clothing, you might only be getting one type. Let's say this week you might only receive 5 different types of jeans, 5 pairs of jeans, and that's all you have to redesign these 5, which means you would end up having to charge a lot more for that one pair of jeans then.
So at first, we'll be collecting only a small portion of clothes, as there's only a limited amount of teammates, 5 teammates in our group. But as we scale up, we're planning on collecting more clothes, not just from our school or neighborhoods, but beyond Kuala Lumpur, maybe around in Penang, and actually hire some employees to redesign the clothes there and do and sell more products there.
Actually, one of the groups you should tie up with is H&M, because I know they have a policy where you can take your used clothes and exchange it for some credits for some new clothes. So in every H&M, there's actually a bin at the back of the counter where if you bring in any of your old clothes, they actually exchange it for new clothes, because they would then recycle those old clothes for the poorer countries.
Is that all? Are there any?
I'm okay.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have a question. I have a question that I'd like to just toss out there as well. You mentioned in one of your slides that they had to meet certain conditions if they were going to be donated to you. Do you have an idea what those conditions are?
So some of the conditions we thought of was, of course, it should be in a good state, not ripped or torn. And for the clothes we are planning to receive, for the tie-dye clothes, we're going to receive 100% cotton shirts. And for shirts, we are planning not to receive printed shirts on it because we thought it might be hard to design.
Yeah, it will interfere with the design process, because the aim of global is to give clothes a second life, so to say. So if we receive torn clothes, then we will give them away to be recycled, because they are not in a condition that can be sold to other people. And our goal is more along the lines of reducing waste rather than recycling it.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry, John, I interrupted you. I noticed you were going to say something.
I don't know, it's okay. I mean, I was just gonna comment that, I mean, the idea is really great. I mean, even like companies like ThreadUp and I forgot what the other name is, how they're renting out clothes, so that they're already kind of like thinking the same idea of you, where we're wasting, too much of the, Earth's resources on clothing to make them, and therefore somebody to wear it once. So why waste it, and they're learning to recycle in a better manner. Have you looked into possibly getting in connection with kind of like companies like Levi's or any of these major companies where you could get, like say maybe what they would call their second-hand product, and then you could customize it. And I think in this environment with Instagram and all the social media, people do want to be different. So I think your idea of maybe making it unique will actually be worthwhile. But also to Adam's point, if you could get something that maybe like that you get maybe like 50 pieces of something similar, then that might make it also a better option for some people that may want something similar, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that was no real question, but I mean, the idea is great, and that you're even thinking about kind of like the environment and to be socially conscious at your age is, admirable.
Well, thank you, Team 4.